Welcome to Bunnyfish Crafts. I'm your host Heather, known as Bunnyfish on Ravelry, Instagram, and YouTube. Today is Tuesday, the 6th of December, 2016. This is episode 204, Nonstop. Grab some sticks and string and come sit with me. It's been 2 weeks. Sorry about that. Happy Thanksgiving and all that. Well, I hope you had one. We had a good one. I did record last week, and I even managed to edit, but that was right before I worked 4 days in a row. The first shift was a 12-hour shift, and then 4 days in a row, and then craziness. So I didn't get a chance to put it up. So I'm just going to talk about all of the stuff today. So we went to Kentucky for Thanksgiving, and it was good. I got a lot of knitting accomplished while I was there because I wasn't at home, so I didn't feel obligated to clean things. It is later in the day, P.S., and also it's raining, so we have this super attractive lighting. The kids are home, just my two. The other three are with their dad, and so there's going to be lots of background noise. I apologize for that. My best friend got injured at work last Friday, and so I was running her around with errands all day. I meant to record this morning. I meant to do a lot of things this morning, but when your best friend is like, hey, how's it going? I need to bandage my hand. I need to change the wrappings on my hand 3 times a day, and I can't get to a store to get the stuff because her vehicle's at work, so it's not at home, and work is kind of far away. I mean, I wanted to hang out with her anyway, but then we just decided to do it early in the morning because trying to do errands with kids is frustrating. So anyway, that's why this didn't get recorded earlier. I'm also a super jerk because I was supposed to hang out with Haley via Skype today, and I didn't, and terrible friend. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's a lot. My life has been pretty much nonstop since, well, not since I recorded, but since I got back from Kentucky, because there was a lot of not happenings in Kentucky, a lot of relaxing, a lot of knitting getting done. Anyway, one of the things that happened is that the Finish Your Frog Craft Along finished up, and I just closed the thread literally right before I recorded, and I drew for prizes, and the winners were number 13, Allegria, who is Allison. She frogged a seascape stole, which was beautiful, but she just wasn't enjoying it. So I'm kind of excited that a frogged project won, and the other one was a finished, so we had a finished and a frogged. And the finished one was post 121, Rose Bob, who is Rose. It was one of the many Voodoo You Loved Me's that she finished. So what you can win, because I didn't show it super much on the podcast, is there is a skein of this Lion brand Sockies in the Red Hots colorway, and this ball makes 1 pair of socks, or I guess you could make several pair of socks if you had really small feet and did short socks or tube socks. Or anyway, I've used this particular color of this yarn in socks, a couple pairs of socks, and as a contrast color in a sweater. It's a really nice color. It's a variegated. And then the other is this lovely project bag, which was made by Christina, and it says Mama C's Creations. It's this really cute state bag for United States, and both of these projects are going to international, so that's interesting. I will get them out as soon as I can, but whoever contacts me first, well, both of you contact me and tell me the order in which you would like things, but the person who contacts me first will get their first choice, and then the person who contacts me second will get whatever's left. So yeah, I will get these out as soon as I possibly can, but I'm going to tell you that if it is the week of Christmas, that I would be going. I'm not doing that, and it might not even happen the week directly before Christmas. So if you get in touch with me this week, I'll definitely get it out. Otherwise, I might be avoiding the post office until January, just so you know, because it gets crazy. So yes, contact me about those prizes, Allegria and Rosebob. The other thing that happened in the group was that the pattern along for my patterns in the Heather Laws Ravelry store, there's a knit along going on, and Allison is in charge of moderating that. And we're closing up the end of week 1, and you can post a work in progress photo each week for prizes, and then a finished object photo of any of those. So yes, I've been really super bad about being in the Ravelry group. I will be reading through the thread tonight. I know I have a PM asking me a question about one of the patterns. I'm really sorry. I've just been so busy, picked up extra shifts at work. Last week I picked up an extra 14 hours at work, which, I mean, that's not a ton of extra hours, but it felt like a ton of extra hours. So I've been working a lot. I've been really busy. And then, of course, kids things. And I will catch up on Ravelry today. And then I don't have a day off until the weekend, I'm pretty sure. So I'm sorry if I'm quiet, but I'll try to be better about it. But yes, that knit along is going on. It's for my patterns. Rules are in the Ravelry group. The thread should be linked in the show notes, which are on the blog, bunnyfish.wordpress.com. So there's a link to the thread, which is in the Ravelry group, which is Bunnyfish Crafts Podcast. I never say those things, but they're always at the end of the show on the last card of the podcast. I think that's all the administrative stuff that I have to talk about. Otherwise, I guess I'll record when I'm editing or talk about it next week or something. So, finished objects. I have so many of them. It's been 2 weeks, and I had those 5 days off over Thanksgiving, and I put them to really good use. So, first up is Haley's socks, the ones that I'm knitting in exchange for the American Girl doll. Oh my gosh, all the things are making noise. These are first 2 of the coordinating but not matching socks, because all 4 of them have the gray toes, which is Tessa's Designer Yarns sock and baby yarn in a gray. And then they have all of the bodies are are leftovers that Steve from Dramatic Knits gave me at the Zombie Knit Apocalypse one year, because he decided he wasn't going to make any more sock yarn, or he wasn't going to make a sock yarn blanket, and then he later decided that he was, but all of the minis are still mine. So I have these, and this one, all 4 of them have this purple heel. I don't know what the yarn is. It's just a mini that was in my minis collection. And I actually ran out of this color right here, which for some reason is stuck in my head as Glacial by Leaning Man Fiber Arts, but I don't know if that's correct. I didn't look it up. I just really feel like that's what this is, but I could totally be making that up. I ran out of that because, of course, I put a square in my blanket, which, P.S., I did mitered squares. But I can't find my blanket right now because I started a square last night and I set my blanket somewhere. And I could either look for my blanket or I could record, so couldn't find it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. I'll probably find it while I'm putting this into the software and whatever. So I ran out of this colorway, so I just threw some more purple around the top just because. So those are the first 2, and here are the second 2. They are still drying. I soaked them this morning, so they are still quite wet. But but again, same gray toes, purple heels, and different colored body yarn for the socks. So that is pairs number 2 and 3 of the 4 that I'm making for Haley. And you know, I'm just going to talk about the sock that I'm working on instead of saving it for works in progress. So here is the next Haley sock that I'm working on, and this is going to be another pair that's coordinated but not quite matching. Both socks are going to have this blue color for the toe, and then they're going to have this blue color for the heel. They're very similar, but obviously they're not the same. And then the other sock is going to have this yarn as the body. So they're both going to have orange in the body, and this is showing up really gray, but it's a bluey gray-y color. They both have orange, they both have the blue, so they'll be coordinating but not matching. And then those will be all of the Haley socks, and I'm hoping to get that finished so that I can make it into the post soon. I need to make a huge post office trip is what I need to do. I just haven't gotten there yet in my life. So yes, I'm knitting all of those socks on these 9-inch circulars, and they're 60-inch socks. They're modified Rose City rollers, modified because I worked them from the toe up instead of the cuff down. And I am on the gusset of the sock, so I'm increasing for the gusset. So it's, you know, probably halfway-ish finished because the foot is complete, the toe is complete. I also finished the other 2 pairs of mitts for teachers. So here is one of one and one of the other. They are both knit on US size 11, which is 8.0 millimeter. They're both knit in Hometown USA, which is by Lion Brand. This one is Aspen Tweed, and I used Mirkwood Elf, the side cable mitts for the stitch count and stuff, and how it's set up stitch-wise. And then I just changed out the cable. So it looks like an owl, and it's kind of a happy accident. So I used this owl, which I've knit several owly sleep sacks, and I didn't look up the pattern to see how many rounds went in between what, but I was like, okay, I'm going to put a little owl at the top, and then I'm going to put a little owl at the bottom. But that looks like an owl, like right here. So, I mean, it's got 2 to 3 owls. Well, I guess 1 to 3 owls on it. Depends on how you look at it. But yeah, I just made that up. And then this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see at all. It has another cable. I will try to take a photo to put it in. It looks like the cable crosses all the way across, but it actually doesn't. I just crossed the first few stitches at the beginning and then did a rest round, and then crossed the first few stitches at the end, and then did several rest rounds and then crossed again. And this colorway is Oakland Black. And need to fiddle with that because that looks like a really big hole. That's not cool. So the teacher mitts are done. I have all 3 of them knit. I just need to look at that hole that's going on. And I knit the white ones in Kentucky and then the black ones. So I knit the white ones in like a day because they're really easy, but I wanted to give my hands lots of breaks because working with that size needle was really painful. I think a lot of us have that issue, like especially if we knit a lot of one type of sizes, moving to a different size hurts our hands. So I had to move to a different size, but so the black ones took me like a week to make, even though they were the same sort of thing. So the other finished object that I have is it's not really a finished object in that I didn't knit anything, but I did make another pair of fingerless mitts because I love fingerless mitts. I wear them every day at work, and I don't think that I can have too many pairs of fingerless mitts because that means I have to wash my mitts. Sometimes I make it through an entire week without washing my mitts, but I work with dogs and I pick up poop and pet dogs and stuff, so sometimes they get really nasty. So more mitts is good. And anyway, what I did is my Legolas socks that I knit a long time ago, I'll put the year down here, out of Madeline Tosh sock, which it's not really good for socks. I didn't know that because I was new to the whole knitting world, and I didn't know that 100% superwash merino is not the greatest thing for socks. So I use it for socks, and these socks are much beloved. I patched the heels on both of them. I patched the pad of the foot, like right under the toes, several times. I even patched these socks on Thanksgiving, or like on my break of Thanksgiving. I patched one of them, and then I wore the pair, and then...
It's happening. I'm officially retiring this pair of socks. I have patched them several times. I even patched the other one yesterday, but now this one has a hole in the heel, one in the toe, another toe about to pop through.
I didn't want to throw these away because they are the first pair of fancy socks that I made for myself. They are, I think, one of the most beautiful pairs of socks that I've ever knit. And they're still good. Look, see how pretty they are as mitts? I mean, I would totally knit this pattern as mitts, theoretically. I mean, I would totally do it theoretically, but do I actually want to do it? No. So what I did was I took the sock and I had the hole in the base of the heel right by the bottom of the heel flap. So I cut open the bottom of the heel flap, had the socks inside out, and stuck my thumb through, and then folded the heel flap around my thumb and used a double point to hold that together, and then I sewed that down. And then I put my thumb back through that hole and then used the double point to make a straight line for a seam on the palm, because the circumference of my foot is obviously bigger than the circumference of my hand. So then I seamed that up, and you know, my hand doesn't need a gusset right here. So I sewed that up, and then I cut off around the top, and I blanket stitched on this around the top and around the top of this. I haven't actually worn these yet, so I don't know how they're going to work out with the blanket stitching and the seaming, but they fit really nicely. This is where I accidentally cut too far on the heel, so I just stitched that up. And I use contrasting yarn because, let's see, this is where I patched up the back of a heel. So it already had contrasting yarn, and when I darn my socks, I like to do it in a contrasting color so I can see that I did that extra work. I don't know why. I just like it. So I used purple to do the seaming. Let me show you the inside, show you what I'm talking about. So see, I seamed it there. I did the cutting near the seams but not right next to it, so that hopefully it won't unravel too much. This yarn does, even though it's superwash, it does felt a little, so you can see this right here, felt a little with wear. So I'm hoping that that'll be fine. I'll let you know if I bust through them quickly that it was a fail, but I'm hoping not. I mean, I won't do this with all of my socks as they break down. Like some of my socks, you can see my darning patch right there. That's what the inside looks like. Some of my socks, it's just not worth it. Like if my Rose City rollers die, I'm not going to worry about it because it's a vanilla body. But these are super textured, a lot a lot of work went into these. So much work. They were just so much. I couldn't bring myself to throw away the socks, even though I couldn't bring myself to darn them one more time. So I think this is a good re-life for them, repurposing. I didn't do anything to the leg of the sock. I just left it as is because, you know, my wrist is not, I mean, it's not as big as my calf, but it's not substantially smaller, so it's not ill-fitting. It's comfortably loose. It's not like, it's not going to fall down like that or anything. So, yeah. Those are my Legolas socks turned into mitts. And I will get back to you when these break down, I guess, if I remember. And especially if they break down this winter, so that you know that that's just not a good idea and don't bother wasting your time. But if I do have other fancy socks of my own, I don't really think that I can't think of another pair of patterned socks that I've made for myself other than my thigh highs. Oh, that's not true. My cake socks, I might turn those into mitts, but I don't know. They're the red and blue ones, the I'll cake if I want to. My sample socks, if those break down, I might turn them into mitts, but I don't know. Definitely, I just love the Legolas ones so much. Speaking of mitts, I did finish the samples for my mitts, and I'll show you this much. So that's the sample of my mitts. I haven't had a chance to turn the pattern into something I can send out to a test knitter, but I'm going to, hopefully tonight, and I will get that out to the one person who said that they would test knit, hopefully tonight, so that she can start test knitting it. And an update on my sample socks. I've heard back from all of my test knitters. Sorry, test knitters, for not getting back to you. It's not on purpose. I've heard back from all of them. I have their feedback. I have to go make the changes to the pattern. I can't find the sample that I knit of my own sock. On the list of things to do today is organize my craft stuff area over here, because you can see over my shoulder right here is the Grinch, and I've started decorating for Christmas a little bit. The boys put up the Christmas tree, and I have stockings hung, and I have the Grinch and Max over here, and then over there on top of the TV stand I have an elf, and I have a little Christmas tree crocheted one on a table over here by a candle. So just a little bit of Christmas decorating. But that happened. Anyway, that's not the important part. The Grinch is sitting on one of my Christmas presents, which is a 9-cube storage thingy that my best friend got me in Kentucky, and I immediately assembled upon returning home. So hopefully it's over there. If not, I will be casting on, hopefully I can take pictures tonight for the pattern. But if not, I will be immediately casting that on and putting everything aside until I knit the second sock, which will then be the sample sock for the pictures for the pattern, so that I can get that out very soon. By the end of the year, I want to have it out. I would like to have both patterns out by the end of the year. So I just need to find that sock. The problem is I put it somewhere safe. This is the fatal error. Can't put things somewhere safe because then I lose them. I always do that. Works in progress. I'll start with the one that's almost a finished object. If I had, picked it up last night at all, it would be finished now. I made these yoga socks. They're for Mary Lee, and I'm pretty sure I was just up here last time I showed them to you, because I'm pretty sure last time I showed them to you, I didn't realize that they were going to match perfectly. Well, almost perfectly. Like, they're They are, that was upside down. So they are like 10 stitches off. I worked from the inside and outside of a cake. I didn't try to match them. That's just how it worked. And they are, this is where I opened the one for the afterthought heel gusset thingy. And you can see the line. I don't know if you can see the line. It's purple, but it blends kind of in. So there's the other one. So there, it's like 10 stitches off per round. Totally didn't plan it. Had enough of this yarn scrap to knit the entire bodies, and then I'm knitting the gusset in a black because I ran out of the yarn. So perfect scrap. I don't even know if I'll show these next week because I only have to open the other one and put in the 5 rounds and then bind off of the gusset area and then block them and weave in ends, but I'll probably just do that tonight. So I probably won't show these next week. These are like a in-between project, kind of a finished object, kind of not. We'll just count them as finished. Okay, I'm not going to show these next week because it's 5 rounds and a bind off of 48 stitches. Like, that's not even, it's not worth it. So another finished object is these yoga socks. So I only have 2 other works in progress that I am currently working on. I have several that I should be working on, but whatever. These are the Bellatrix socks by Monkey Toes, and I'm using Souls and More in a colorway, random but kind of exciting. So I was knitting on these, and I'm working from the inside and outside of the ball, so the colors are, didn't try to match obviously, and the stripes are going in reverse color order, and they're fine. They're for my best friend, and she doesn't care. My best friend in Kentucky, not the best friend I just made the yoga socks for, different best friends. I was knitting on these, and my niece saw these. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I love those colors. Those are so nice." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Her Christmas socks are knit out of the same colorway. Totally unrelated, but that's super exciting. She doesn't know that. So anyway, Bellatrix by Monkey Toes, US 1, 2.25 millimeter needles. And last time I showed them to you, I'm pretty sure I had started this heel flap right here, but maybe not. No, that was when I recorded last week, which you didn't get to see. So last time you saw them, they were still on the leg portion, maybe even the cuff. You haven't seen the heel at all, so yay that. It is a pattern that utilizes dropped stitches. Kind of see that. So it plays with the widths of the stripes because of those drop stitches, which is really cool. And I've never made a pattern with drop stitches before, so that's pretty exciting. I am on the gusset. I just barely started the gusset. So these are, I have so much Christmas knitting to do, you guys. So much. I have a pair of socks that isn't started. I have this pair of socks. I have the, what are these? The Rhombus socks by Cookie A, which I haven't worked on in, I don't know, weeks, months, a long time. I have a pair of socks I haven't started yet. And I have this project that I cast on last night. And I am working the toes. These are going to be thigh highs. So, yeah. These are going to be for my mom. She visited last winter, and I was wearing a pair of thigh highs over my leggings. I think during the duration, I wore both of my knitted pairs of thigh highs over leggings, and she was like, "Those are so cute." And I was like, "Thanks, I made them." She was like, I thought you made those. They're really, really cute. And I was like, oh, you want a pair, don't you? And she's like, yeah. So I took her into my yarn stash and I let her pick out yarn. And then I decided that even though I really, really love my mom, I didn't really want to give her a pair of socks that used 2 of my indie dyed skeins of yarn. So I let her have the one. I just decided this yesterday, the day before, that she couldn't have 2 indie dyed skeins of yarn because I've had them set aside for her, earmarked for her for the whole year. But then I was like, well, she can only have one and I want the all green skein. So this part was supposed to be green, but instead it's gray, and it's Premier Yarns Serenity Sock in the charcoal, right? Yeah, the charcoal colorway. So my plan for these thigh highs is I'm not going to do patterning on them, at least not on the foot. And I'm going to do them as tube socks so I don't have to worry about a heel. So I'm going to knit, I'm going to do the toe increases, and then I'm going to knit 90 rounds in stockinette in this gray. And then I'm going to change over to the main yarn, which is this beautiful skein of fishnets in the, right? Fishnets? If I'm wrong, it'll be at the bottom, but I'm pretty sure it's fishnets in the Zombie 10 colorway. So it is 10 stripes. It is 3. It's 5 colors of gray and 5 colors of green that stripe. And I'm pretty sure that I counted 7 repeats as I was winding it off. Pretty sure. I'm going to be working the socks one at a time. I'm going to do the foot one at a time, but I didn't split the ball because no ball winder. And I didn't want to wind this from the hank and then wind off a ball and then have my balls be going in opposite directions. I don't know if my mom cares about striping matching up. I haven't asked her, but I'm just going to make them match. I'm pretty sure I counted 7 repeats, so I'm going to do 6 repeats and then I'm going to have a repeat to play with on modular projects. So my plan is to do like the foot to hopefully the ankle of the tube socks. I'll try it on once it gets to 90 rounds past the toe and see how that looks on my foot. Her foot is slightly smaller. So as long as it looks okay on my foot, it'll be fine for her. And then I'm going to take off one of the feet, one of the feet, and attach the leg, do 3 repeats of that. And then I will do the cuff at the top in this gray again. That's what I'm thinking right now. So I kind of want to do just a really simple pattern. Like, I'll probably do some ribbing just to help with the thigh highs because they're going to have to increase, but I don't want the, I don't know how I want to say what I'm trying to say. So I will probably do some sort of ribbing pattern, but not a ton of patterning in general. That's a lot of socks. That's 4 pairs of socks to knit by Christmas, and actually one of those pairs needs to be done by the weekend of the 17th. Luckily 2 of them are shorty socks. One of them is like normal calf length socks, like bottom of calf, but then the thigh highs. Wish me all the knitting speed, and I still have to finish another pair of shorty socks for Haley. I don't know where I think I'm going to get all this knitting time. I'm a crazy. Basically, I don't know. I'm just not going to sleep for the next 3 weeks, I guess. Yeah, that's what's up. And I think that I'm going to be knitting 2 more pairs of fingerless mitts, and I have some other Christmas presents that I want to make. I do. What do I think I'm doing? I have no idea. So yeah, that's where I'm at for my Christmas knitting crazy. How's yours going? Are you a freaking nut like me? Are you? Is that a thing for you? Modular knitting. Let's talk about something slightly less nuts. I did mitered squares, but again, I don't know where my blanket is unless, nope, it's not there. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to shake that. So it's somewhere in my craft area. I need to clean it. So I did do a barn raising square, and it has all of the colors of the 4 socks from, or that I just made from Haley. All 4 of those socks are represented in this square. So you can see that glacial colorway that I ran out of yarn, or not the, what color did I run out? I don't know. Whatever one that I ran out of yarn is already in this square. Like I did this first. I will show you my mitered squares next week. And then I also did 3 hexapuffs. So this was what was on my needles when I went to Kentucky. And actually I did another miter or another hexapuff while I was there, but I can't find it. So I'm not counting it. I'll show it to you next week maybe. And then I did 2 celebratory because, do you know what this is? This is the toe that I cut off my Legolas sock. So here is, I just stitched, I didn't have a hexapuff for reference for size, so I just stitched a hexagon shape, and it's slightly smaller than my standard hexapuffs, but once it's sewn in, it should be fine. Yeah, I just had it inside out, and I stitched up 5 sides on this one. And then I have another one, which is, you know, slightly irregular in shape, but this is the other toe. So see how many times I had patched this toe? So here's one patch, and then there's green, and then there is purple next to the green. 3 times the toe on this sock. So for this one, I used, this is toe increase. This is the, these ones were top down, so this is the Kitchener. Here's toe decrease, and then I sewed 3 sides, seamed it together. So yeah, it's a little misshapen, but I mean it'll squish into the right shape. It'll be fine in the hexagon thing. So 2 celebratory because they're irregular. And what else? I'll show you the mitered squares next week. That brings me up to 619 hexapuffs that are, I mean, theoretically, it's somewhere around there, right? I'm going to say it's 619, but I probably have a few more than that. I should start putting that blanket together a little bit so I can have an idea of what's going on. Anyway, I have a new thing, and I feel really terrible about it because I actually had it 2 weeks ago when I recorded and put up the podcast, and I forgot to talk about it. And Sharon sent me the Fault Line by Sweet Pea Designs. It's a shawl, and Gabriella of Sweet Pea Designs had put it up to raise money for relief efforts for the earthquake that happened in New Zealand. And I meant to talk about it on the podcast so that if you were wanting to support that effort, you could do it in that way, and I completely forgot. I'm really sorry. Do I seem more scattered than I did last year? I don't know. I feel like a lot's going on in my life this year. So anyway, thank you very much, Sharon. I don't even know if I sent you a PM. Thanking you. Now I need to go look at my sent PMs and check that. If I haven't, I'm really sorry. I used to be so good about those things, and I just haven't been recently. The last thing I have for you is all the reading stuff that I've been doing. I am listening to the Iliad in my car, and I'm finding it dead boring, honestly. Like, I don't love the narrator. He's very he's very dry. The writing style is very dry anyway, and super, super repetitive. Like, I don't need to hear every detail. It's not even every detail. I don't need to hear the details of every death of all of these soldiers whose names you're saying who don't mean anything to me. Maybe they did when Homer wrote the Iliad. Maybe all of the names of all of the characters mattered to the audience. Possibly. But like random goat herder's son, and this guy was the son of a bronze worker or something. Like all of these people who the names don't matter to me. The deaths are very repetitive because, I mean, there are tons of ways to die in battle, but there are only so many ways to die in battle. And the descriptions are just very repetitive. It's really, really repetitive. And there's actually a female narrator who summarizes what you're about to hear in the story. So like track 1 is her telling you what you're going to hear in track 2, and she is also very dry. It is a labor to listen to this book. I don't love classics anyway. I just don't. I understand why the stories are important, and I can understand them. I can understand their importance anthropologically. I totally get it anthropologically. But in actuality, I'm just like, please, how many more CDs do I have? And currently I am on disc 8 of 12. I'm not actually on disc 8. I just finished disc 7. I need to put disc 8 in my car. But yeah, I feel obligated to listen to classics, even though I don't love them, because I feel like I should listen to them. So that's where I'm at with the Iliad. On the bright side, I am listening to Drums of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon, and I am on, I don't know, chapter 48 of 70 something, I want to say. And I'm enjoying that. But again, I only listen to that really when I'm at work, like cleaning rooms or whatever. So I'm not listening to that a ton, but I am enjoying the story more than I'm enjoying the Iliad. And I actually picked up an audiobook from the library today. So I need to listen to this instead of turning on the radio, which I don't actually like the radio when I'm driving to and from work because it's a lot of talk radio in the morning, and the radio just has a lot of talking on it, period, and commercials and stuff. So I just need to buckle down and listen to the Iliad, because what I'm going to be listening to next, I'm really excited. It's the first book in the Wheel of Time series. Is it called Eye of the World? I don't remember. I read The Eye of the World. I'm going to say that's the title. And if I'm wrong, whatever. I'll correct it hopefully next week. Hopefully I'll be listening to it. So I read that book when I was in college.
What color is
my sophomore year. Sophomore year. It's purple. Go, please. And I really, really liked it. I liked it so much. It was terrifying and intriguing, and the world building was so good. And I started the second one, and then I just stopped. But I really want to read or listen to the series. It's on my list of things to do. It's one of those series that I really, really want to tackle, because it's one of those sci-fi series, fantasy series that everyone has read. I did really, really like the story that I had read. And the whole reason why I even started reading it was because my boyfriend in high school read all of them and super loved them, and he would like tell me snippets of the story, and I was really intrigued and really, really interested in reading it. And I don't even know why I didn't read the second one. Maybe I read it too close to the end of reading the first one. I have no idea. But that's what I'm going to listen to next, and I'm actually really excited about it. And I hope that the narrator is good, because I anticipate being pretty terrified. I'm pretty sure it's right at the beginning where I got terrified. I just remember one night reading that book until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. We had lofted beds, and I had a desk lamp on the top of my shelf, so I had to reach down to turn it off, and I was too scared to reach down and turn it off. So I don't remember why, but I do remember that, and so I'm looking forward to that. But I don't actually remember the story at all because college was a really long time ago. I finished reading Prudence by Gail Carriger and enjoyed it. We'll definitely be looking for the second one. I picked up, I think I had been talking about, or I talked about it last week. Sorry if this doesn't make any sense, but I had been talking about seeing if I could find, if the Finishing School series had a book that I hadn't read yet, and it does, so I'll be reading that soon. I picked that up from the library. I finished reading Harlequin, the New 52, Volume 1, which I don't remember what Volume 1 is called. I don't know, Welcome to the City or something like that, I think, but I could be making that up. So I finished reading that. I am still reading Anna Burning by Shannon Hale. Was I reading that last week or 2 weeks ago when I talked to you? I don't think I was. I feel like that's a new read for me. Yeah, it's not on the list from previous episode. So Shannon Hale wrote a book called The Goose Girl, which I read in college, and I enjoyed it. And I don't remember it because, again, college was a long time ago. I remember small parts of it, but not overall. And one of the characters from The Goose Girl is in Anna Burning. So, like, I vaguely remember her, and I vaguely remember her story. I might go back and read The Goose Girl after I read Anna Burning. But the main concept is that some people, not even a vast majority, it's like 2 people in the entire everywhere, can talk to elements. A girl can talk to the wind and birds and her horse. So if you know the language of things, you can talk to those things. The other is a boy who finds a parchment that teaches him how to speak to fire, and that turns out to be super dangerous and volatile, as you can imagine. So I'm not very far in it. The kingdom is about to go to war, and Enna is the sister to the boy who has, who knows how to speak to fire. Hi, babe. So, before I get a ton of questions, can you go turn off my alarm? It's 5 o'clock, in case you were wondering. Go turn off my alarm. Before I get a ton of questions in the thread, because I will forget to talk about it if I don't talk about it right now, this is, Gabriel got his new glasses, and, oh, we have to go pick up Mara's glasses today. Don't let me forget. So he got his new glasses, but when we went to the optometrist to get his eyes checked, turns out he has a lazy eye. Why did his previous optometrist not tell me that so we could handle it? So we're treating that right now. I don't want to talk about it because I'm going to get really, really angry. Pretty much everybody who I've told in person, I've gone on a rant to about how I feel about how a previous optometrist didn't catch it. So yeah, he is wearing eye patches for the next 2 months. Mara is now playing with my phone. That's fine. The only other book that I'm reading right now is actually a manga. It's called Fruits Basket. It is volume 1, and Mary Lee and I have watched the anime of Fruits Basket several times. It was like It was the thing that we watched one summer. Like, we watched it a few times during that summer. And I actually kind of want to sit down and watch it again. Mary Lee, can we have a Fruits Basket marathon? Is that a thing that we could do? I think we should. But I'm reading the first one, and I will probably finish that tonight if I'm able. If I'm able to read, because I have like 80,000 things that I want to do tonight and only a few hours. Well, like 5 hours before I need to be putting myself to bed so I can work tomorrow. What was I saying? I don't know. Fruits Basket. I really enjoy it. Oh, that really hurt, actually.
Sorry.
It's okay. Just be careful. Thank you. So I'll be reading that, and I picked up the next 2 volumes at the library today because when I was taking Mary Lee around for errands, one of the things we had to do was go to the library because she can't work for the next 2 weeks at least, and she needed things to do because she hurt her hand, and so she is down a hand. And she can read, she can hold books with one hand, but she hurt her right hand. She can't really write, and she can't draw or color, or, you know, she doesn't knit, but she crochets, so she can't crochet. She can read, though, so we went to the library. And so I went in to pick up the one thing that I had on hold, and I walked out with like 6 or 8 things. I can't be trusted in the library. I love it too much. Anyway, that's all I have for you this week. I hope you made something fantastic with your sticks and string, and I will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.